Hi, I'm Matt Cook, MA Digital Media Theory student at Goldsmiths, University of London. I'm here to talk about Milton Keynes as a smart city in this presentation titled Living in the Petri Dish, Acclimating to Life Alongside Smart City Systems in Milton Keynes. Milton Keynes has had a slow build to becoming smart that seems to have gone under the radar somewhat, maybe because of its very gradual progression to such a state. But first, I think it's much more valuable to discuss what exactly smart is in this respect, before elaborating a bit more on the specific case study of Milton Keynes. The phrase smart city covers a pretty wide variety of technologies and systems that all hold varying degrees of complexity. And a lot of the time, technology within the conceptual smart city is akin to the existing Internet of Things, perhaps a series of sensors or data collecting devices that work in sync to streamline an existing solution or task. The smart city in an ideal world would work harmoniously with the Internet of Things to create a system of flowing traffic, clean streets, renewable and sustainable energy, or a consistent and wide-reaching wireless internet network, allowing for interaction within the city through the data these sensors and other devices have collected. A smart city is not a new wave of city architecture in the traditional sense. It is the process of creating one that is data optimized. It provides systems that interpret and learn the patterns of the city, nearly like that of a living being. Where the city was once for living, the smart city aims to make the city itself live. Perhaps the most comprehensive example of the vision of the smart city is visible in South Korea, in the Songdo International Business District. Songdo is a city built on reclaimed land in South Korea. It's a unique place in that it was built from the ground up to be a smart city. A city for the future that other places around the world could look to for inspiration on how to create a smart city that runs efficiently. The concept was to create 80,000 apartments, 4.6 million square meters of office space, and 1 million square feet of retail space. Songdo aimed to be complete in 2015, yet the city remains incomplete. Despite the status of its completion, Songdo still boasts some impressive systems. For example, instead of traditional garbage disposal, Songdo provides a different approach. Where there are bins in the city, the contents are sucked out of them by a pressurized system of pipes and sent into an underground sorting center. The rubbish is either burnt to provide energy, recycled, or buried. This system has effectively eliminated garbage trucks from the city. Other impressive systems include its robust collection of on-site equipment that gathers data 24/7. CCTV, sensor devices, traffic detectors, and more all provide valuable data to the Songdo database that is then pushed through a big data analysis process to provide more efficient systems and useful services. Traffic, facility management, disaster prevention, learning, and finance are all sectors that benefit from this system. Public transport is another area that is largely affected by this collection of data. Detailed bus arrival times, subway information, and vigilant CCTV usage is combined to create a safe and efficient running public transport network, all of which is set to a power-saving mode during the night in order to cut lights and save energy if there is no motion detected in the areas surrounding these bus stops or subway stations. Despite the impressive scale and operation of Songdo's systems, the city still faces significant issues. Songdo's technological systems are certainly incredible developments that provide an efficient and novel solution to a variety of everyday problems for both citizens and government. However, a significant issue the city has faced has been its ability to attract potential citizens to come and live there. Songdo's aim of 80,000 apartments seemed fitting for the sheer scale of the intended retail and office space the city had aimed to create. But the population as of 2018 remains at over 100,000, only a third of the way towards the target of 300,000. Linda Poon, a writer for CityLab, interviewed a citizen of Songdo who highlighted their issues. The struggle to find a vibrant community, the interviewee stated, was a significant issue. Quote, "There's an online forum where we share our complaints, but only on the internet, not face to face." Stark opposers of the concept of the smart city, such as Adam Greenfield, have often pointed to the execution of Songdo as a petri dish. The techniques, methods, and framing of these sites, he believes, are the groundwork for latecomers to the concept of the smart city to elaborate on and present to their public sector customers. Lacking a sense of community, and without the population to build one, Songdo has unfortunately been left in limbo. A laboratory of well-executed concepts that serve a fraction of the people they were designed for. Certainly it is technologically impressive, but it is ultimately very different in execution to what other places have accomplished through integrating the existing systems of the smart city into an established location, as opposed to building it from the ground up. Milton Keynes is one such example, but another that came before it is Rio de Janeiro. Rio de Janeiro provides valuable context for Milton Keynes as a case study, a prominent example of what a smart city can look like when the systems are implemented instead of built around. Aided by IBM, Rio de Janeiro was able to create a data command center to monitor the city throughout daily life, in much a similar way to the collection and use of data in Songdo. Where Songdo had aimed to enforce a smart response to all aspects of daily life, Rio's control center looks to provide an efficient way to respond specifically to accidents or disasters that the city may face during public events such as Carnival. Milton Keynes still approached the issue in a slightly different way. In late 2013, the MK Smart project was announced. The project director Enrico Mota received $17.2 million in funding that would, over the course of 4 years, develop innovative ways of supporting the significant forecast growth in Milton Keynes. The keystone concept of this project would be the founding of the MK Data Hub, a method for curating and distributing large datasets that provide insights into transport, energy, electricity, water, social and economic issues within the city through crowdsourced data. Once the MK Smart project concluded in 2017, the city focused on working with the City Labs initiative to provide an avenue to support the development of new services and systems, which would be rolled out in Milton Keynes. The development of Milton Keynes as a smart city through the MK Smart project was significant enough that it led to the city being noticed in the World Bank's Internet of Things review. In this review, Milton Keynes was praised for the implementation of the MK Data Hub, clarifying that MK Smart was among the first city-based projects that tried to understand data at the heart of the smart city. These approaches to becoming smart have led to an acceptance of these systems. They are seen as a service to the city, instead of its sole defining feature, as the systems in place in Songdo appear to be. Looking specifically at the Data Hub, as well as other smart city services, projects and initiatives that Milton Keynes has run, illustrates more clearly the benefits of smart city technology. As noted previously, the funding received by the MK Smart initiative was primarily to develop the MK Data Hub. This data hub collects various data from a variety of sources across Milton Keynes to provide open access to information regarding areas such as energy or water consumption. Access to this data hub has allowed for the creation of several projects which are available to view and interact with on the Data Hub website, some of which include replays of various live demonstrations that involve collection and use of this data, including the SciRock replay, which shows an in-depth view of a live demonstration hosted at the Milton Keynes Shopping Centre. This demonstration displays a robot that would travel to various tables within a fake coffee shop to take and deliver orders. The MK Data Hub has been a valuable asset to developers within the community. At present, the hub hosts 826 separate datasets and a collection of example projects and applications. The future of the MK Data Hub is secure thanks to it becoming an integral part of smart development within Milton Keynes, supporting events such as the City Labs Innovation Program and the first international competition on robots in smart cities. The Data Hub has been a fruitful addition to the development of Milton Keynes as a smart city, but other projects have also aided in this task. A fairly well-publicized aspect of Milton Keynes is that it has been host to many tests of self-driving vehicles. UK Autodrive is one such example, and they notably came to the city in 2018 to demonstrate their self-driving pods. The developers of these pods believed that this test had been, quote, probably one of the world's biggest deployments of free-roaming autonomous vehicles at the time. The pods could host up to 2 passengers and would travel to a max speed of 25 miles an hour, navigating autonomously to its destination without steering input from the riders. Another project that had been tested in Milton Keynes was the TSC Lutz Pathfinder self-driving pods, which arrived 2 years prior to the Autodrive project. Slightly smaller in physical size and shaped more like a traditional road vehicle, the Lutz Pathfinder project trialled a fleet of 40 pods in Milton Keynes and Coventry. These pods were equipped with a steering wheel and pedals, as well as being manned by a trained operator in case the need to take control arose during these trials. The pods ran on pavements and could reach a top speed of 15 miles per hour. Both of these projects have proven the willingness of Milton Keynes to become a living laboratory for such experiments, as well as the relative apathy the public presented towards such experiments, as explained in an interview with Spectrum by Brian Matthews, Head of Transport Innovation for the Milton Keynes Council. Quote, "General public opinion also seemed to welcome the auto-drive demonstrations, given the fact that tests created relatively little inconvenience for the residents. The general lack of concern towards these self-operating pods likely lessened the potential concern regarding another service that would soon arrive in the city after the conclusion of the MK Autodrive trials. Starship Delivery is a company that operates a fleet of small-scale food and drink delivery robots. The deliveries that take place are not restricted by static residence or address. Instead, the service takes your location from your mobile phone as you use the app to order your desired goods, then delivers them to the spot that you ordered from. This fleet of delivery robots arrived in Milton Keynes in October 2018. The robots operate autonomously, navigating around the city using 10 cameras, ultrasound sensors, radar and GPS technology in order to help them find clear paths, avoid crashing and preventing collision with on-road vehicles. The convenience of on-demand food delivery from local stores and restaurants proved to be very popular with the residents of Milton Keynes, as the service quickly found widespread acceptance and use across the small initial test area where they had been deployed. The service later expanded outside of Milton Keynes to surrounding towns such as Newport Pagnell in late 2019, which proved to benefit the company, as with the coronavirus dissuading many people from visiting shops, they were still able to shop for food and drink freely and have it delivered quickly to their homes. The service reported a massive success, as in January 2021, the company hit a milestone of 1 million completed deliveries, behind the use of their service reportedly quadrupling since the beginning of the pandemic. A local Milton Keynes news outlet, MKFM, summarizes the arrival and popularity of the robots in the city by stating simply, quote, "The delivery robots have won over the hearts of many locals, with it becoming the new normal to greet them as they pass." Fleets of autonomous vehicles and delivery robots are certainly impressive and seemingly futuristic components of a smart city. But there are, as well, several more mundane aspects of Milton Keynes becoming a smart city. The bus fleet in Milton Keynes has recently upgraded to include several wireless charging electric buses, featuring public bus Wi-Fi and the ability to track the location and time of the buses through the use of the Arriva app. The simple addition of Wi-Fi allows for similar collection of data to that of Wi-Fi on trains or other public services or locations, as well as allowing the user to stay connected to the city and the general internet, where they will continue to share their data as they view apps or web pages through this service. Although perhaps not as advanced as the service that exists in Songdo, the bus service in Milton Keynes can still be considered smart due to these additions. Another minor addition to Milton Keynes has been the smart bins that are being slowly rolled out to various centralized areas in the city. They possess a solar panel on the top and crush rubbish as the bin fills up, allowing for easier and more efficient waste disposal. The relatively small-scale rollout of these bins has led to many of the citizens of MK not even being aware of the technology involved in them, leading once again to general apathy towards these systems. Milton Keynes has created a smart city through the method of integrating existing or developing systems into their current infrastructure. This method has been very successful for the city in terms of the city's ability to maintain the trust of its citizens, the continued chance to develop new systems in a public setting, and the ability to still attract new citizens without holding the uncertainty of what a built-from-the-ground-up smart city may provide as a citizen. The unfortunate side effect of an integrated system is that it will likely never be as efficient or comprehensive as a solution built from the ground up. It is extremely unlikely, for example, that Milton Keynes will ever possess a system of underground pressurized tubes that dispose of waste without the need for a fleet of garbage disposal trucks. It is, at this point, a case of identifying the ideal smartness of a city. Citizens within Milton Keynes have slowly been acclimating to the concept of a smart city, many without perhaps realizing what this concept may be. This integration has proven on numerous accounts to bring nothing but apathy. The self-driving cars project were not met with outrage. The Starship Delivery robots were not run off the streets. The citizens of Milton Keynes simply accepted their sudden appearance in the city because they could simply not use them. Arguably, Milton Keynes has reached an ideal middle ground of smartness for the development of their city. The same cannot be said for Songdo. I believe this is most likely due to the speed at which the systems have been integrated. Prospective citizens of Songdo were thrust into all of the new systems the city boasted on the understanding that it may bring a wave of the future. It brought a desire for some to get in on the ground floor, as it were. When this novelty wore off, the citizens found there was no vibrant community, no bustling metropolis of like-minded citizens. Instead, they found only a fraction of the imagined population. This brings forth the question, do the public dislike this concept of overt smartness? And if so, how can the developers of a future smart city avoid the pitfalls of such predisposed dislike? Milton Keynes' success and public acceptance of smart city systems can be tied back to the very gradual implementation of such systems. Whilst the Starship Delivery robots arrived in Milton Keynes suddenly, they were only available in a certain geofenced area, southern Milton Keynes, before eventually expanding to the north and other surrounding towns and villages. This form of gradual familiarization allowed the public to build the trust needed in such systems, as well as coming to terms with their novel and practical uses. As the MKFM quote mentioned previously, the new normal has become to greet these delivery robots on the pathway, a clear sign of acceptance and even humanization of a system that 3 years ago did not even exist. It displays a level of trust, a level of public responsibility, one that has grown so large in fact that online communities in Milton Keynes gather to share photos and stories of their experiences with these robots. So trusted, in fact, that the robots have even been used as a method for a wedding proposal. Systems such as the MK Data Hub have been approached differently. Whilst it certainly is a useful resource for projects and research, the fact of the matter is that it is not well known in the city. A majority of the users of such service are predisposed academics. The general public is not familiar with these datasets. Ultimately, the service that the MK Data Hub provides is not as visible as the Starship Delivery robots that travel every street in Milton Keynes. The reason that it is more effective to publicly show and encourage interaction with the Starship robots rather than the Data Hub is simply because the robots encourage more of a feeling of community. Standing criticism of the smart city is that the deployment of experimental systems and technologies is what turns the city itself into a living laboratory. This is why developers of such systems must take into account methods of encouraging this existing sense of community. The lack of this encouragement in Songdo is what has led to articles such as the interview that Linda Poon had hosted, describing the city as lonely. The success of integration is not limited to the example of Milton Keynes. The Rio de Janeiro Command Center is another example of success that is accepted by the public, with the system even having a presence on social media in the form of a Twitter account. Other cities still, like Amsterdam and Barcelona, act through the use of data to optimize the existing frameworks they have in place. It is the promise of more that drives the developers of the smart city, and as systems such as Starship are accepted, the boundaries of what these developers are able to deploy are expanded. Milton Keynes is not an exception to this concept, as there are a collection of large-scale initiatives that are still coming to the city. The MK Futures 2050 strategy aims to, in a similar way to MK Smart, continue to adjust existing systems to accommodate an ever-growing population, with an estimate of 500,000 citizens by the year 2050. The strategy itself builds around 7 key goals, or big ambitions as they have been labelled. They wish to strengthen the existing qualities of Milton Keynes that make it unique, push Milton Keynes to be a leading green and cultural city by global standards, ensure decent housing for all citizens, build safe communities that emphasize health and well-being, provide jobs for everyone by supporting existing businesses and attracting new ones, offer better opportunities for education so that citizens may learn and develop their skills, and make it easier for citizens to use public transport or find available cycling or walking routes to their destination. The MK Futures strategy ticks all the boxes of continued smart city development. They want to emphasize an efficiency of existing systems, a continued development of public systems that draw from data. During the final published strategy report for the MK Futures 2050 initiative, They highlight specifically the desire to draw from existing smart systems that were enabled by the MK Data Hub through the MK Smart initiative. This kind of project is a continued blurring of the line between Songdo and Milton Keynes' separate approaches to smart city development. MK Futures 2050 aims to build new infrastructure in a smart way, but to do so in an existing city. It is unlikely that the systems created by this strategy will be as robust as the ones in place in Songdo, but they will be smart nonetheless. The MK Futures 2050 strategy is a necessity, as the population of Milton Keynes has reached an approximate 264,679 people as of 2016, holding a projected growth of 1.04% compared to the 0.83% of England as a whole. As such, a strategy like MK Futures 2050 has been met with little resistance, as it is widely understood that something must be done to accommodate this growth. Another more recent example of continued smart development within Milton Keynes is the recent funding of the MK 5G Create project. Signed in January 2021, the MK 5G or the MK 5G Create project received £2.3 million in government funding to research and develop advanced mobility and hospitality logistics at the Stadium MK. The aim of such funded development would be to deliver a series of hospitality robots, drones or vehicles that would serve customers of the Don Stadium and surrounding facilities, such as the cinema, gym, restaurants and retail park. Speaking on the matter, the director of the MK Don stated, quote, "We have been able to bring together a world-class team to integrate and exploit 5G capability in a dynamic real-world environment. This will truly demonstrate how Stadium MK, home of the MK Dons, working with MK Council and our partners, can use new technology to support a major international sporting and cultural venue." The MK 5G project intends to effectively offer a similar service to the Starship Delivery robots already existing within the city, holding a different scope. The project proves to have some synergy with the MK Futures 2050 strategy, as the systems developed using this funding may be used in other areas of the city after the development is complete, such as the Milton Keynes Shopping Centre, or the hub in Milton Keynes. With the provided examples, it would seem that Milton Keynes remains passive whilst their city is turned into an experiment for various companies and initiatives, as very little has been argued against so far. This, however, is not the case, as development of 5G solutions in Milton Keynes have proven to be not without controversy. In July of 2017, the Milton Keynes Council signed an MOU with Huawei to design and build ICT concepts within the city and other surrounding partners. The understanding would bring the development of Milton Keynes as a 5G smart city testbed, during which various 5G towers would be erected to implement this new high-speed network. However, during 2020, the government announced their intention to strip out Huawei technology from the UK's 5G network due to increasing security fears. The project that Milton Keynes had agreed to is still set to run through 2025, but the city is openly looking for alternative companies to achieve the testbed through. Another issue this has caused is a public rejection of the towers themselves. The towers that were proposed to be implemented stood 73 foot tall, and most recently were proposed to be placed on the outskirts of the city. This was met with resistance from the public over concerns that the views that the area would possess would be diminished by the addition of the giant tower. Such concerns were only partially heard, as the proposal moved the tower only 130 metres down the road, still raising the ire of the public. In this case, this is an apparent rejection of a system that could continue to aid in the development of Milton Keynes as a smart city, not over the concerns of technological risks it may pose, but over instead the physical view of the area the person lives in. With the population estimated to swell to 500,000 by 2050, is it feasible then to continue to develop smart systems if the public values the physical appearance of their homes over the sustainability of them? Ultimately, yes. Although it may be unfortunate to lose such views, the truth of the matter is that the development of smarter solutions to everyday life are becoming invaluable. Of the completed and functioning initiatives within the city of Milton Keynes, one truth has remained throughout all of them. Although the systems tested and in place may streamline the mundanities of everyday life, they also act in part to reduce environmental impact. The wirelessly charging electric buses attempt to slowly morph Arriva's fleet of petrol-fueled buses into electric vehicles. The smart bin concepts exist to streamline the disposal of waste. Self-driving pods and vehicles attempt to reduce personal vehicle usage, and the MK Data Hub looks to oversee all of this by optimizing a large set of issues. Developing smart is not the only step in this process. It is teaching, too, that will influence the future generations to continue to act in the best interests of the people. It will encourage them to create systems that are as accepted or enjoyed as Starship Delivery. Milton Keynes, at least, has proven this much. Regardless, such projects must continue to be completed. The trials of self-driving vehicles in Milton Keynes may not have led to immediate change, but they have undoubtedly laid the foundation and the trust of the public for the system that will inevitably come into place in the future. The consistency of Milton Keynes in their ability to draw funds from the government or supporting companies have proven that there is a demand for such solutions, a desire to be the first, or to continue to develop smart solutions. This is a goal that must be achieved gradually. As stated, the key to success in all of Milton Keynes' projects has been the pace at which the technology has been distributed. Starship started in a specific area with a small fleet before beginning to slowly expand as robots became more understood and accepted. Arriva's fleet of wirelessly charged electric buses rolled out in small numbers. The Smart Bin project were only distributed in central areas of Milton Keynes and have yet to expand elsewhere. For creating an acceptance of the experimental technology that is being developed around the lives of Milton Keynes citizens is essential. Yes, Milton Keynes may be a Petri dish. It may be a living laboratory full of experimental systems. But they are accepted. They are visible. When new systems appear in the city, the impact or shock of them doing so is lessened because of this fact. The public has accepted that change must come. Ultimately, the point of developing smart city technology is to improve the efficiency of our cities, to house an ever-growing population, to make efficient the mundane actions of everyday life. But the city is for the people, and that is something that developers of such technology must never try to change. Thank you.